Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're here with the next installment of our 2025 Final Four, being the last four things that a person experiences in their life. Well, presumably after their life. And
we start with death, so
hopefully, realistically, you only experience three of them, and hopefully you get the good three.
But anyway, today we're on to Judgment in a Christmas film that 100% could have taken place pretty much any time else of the year.
I mean, there are people, I don't agree with them, but there are people who will say that Die Hard's not a Christmas movie, it just takes place at Christmas. And yet, this is totally not a Christmas movie, it only takes place at Christmas.
If anything, if it took place in February, it would be
more
better.
Appropriate. And yet, no one has a problem with this being a Christmas classic.
I mean, I do because I hate the ending. The bad guy does not get his comeuppance.
Indeed.
He does not get his true judgment.
That movie, in case you haven't picked up on it yet, is It's a Wonderful Life. And I agree with my co-host, not a Christmas movie. Because, number one, a Christmas movie must not just take place at Christmas, but Christmas must be an integral component in the story. And quite frankly, the only time that this story wouldn't work
is
summertime. Mm-hmm. Because he can't throw himself off the bridge to die in the freezing waters in summertime.
But also, even that gets solved if it was just a slightly higher bridge. The fall might kill him.
Yes, I mean the cold is also important for Zuzu's cold. Mm-hmm. But again, this is a minor point that it is not at all really.
It just happens in the wintertime. It just happens in the wintertime. Sure, his brother was coming home from the war to spend time with his family for Christmas, but
people got leave.
People got leave all throughout the year. He could have been coming home on leave any other time.
But much as we all have issues with It's a Wonderful Life,
we're judging it. We're doing what we're talking about.
No, we're judging commentary about it. We need to judge the film itself.
Okay. Nah.
What we are actually supposed to be talking about is how this movie is an allegory for the judgment. So, we've got... I mean, realistically, if you look at the first half of the film, it is essentially entirely a judgment film. Because it is God and a couple of angels reviewing the life of this man, George Bailey, and essentially weighing it in the scales. Now, they've already indicated that they believe that his life is worth saving. But, nonetheless, here's the things he did that were right things. Here's where he was a little selfish. It's a whole lot of that. It's really what I expect from the particular judgment.
Laying out everything you've done.
I want to run the playback. Let's see how this played out. Yep, that was me. I fumbled the ball there. But this is really the first half of this film is really, quite honestly, a judgment film.
It's super judgy.
It's not just judging him. It's judging like all the people around him, right? Because you've got Mr. Potter. Everything he does is being laid out, and here's all the spots where he was bad. There's almost no spots where he was good.
Well,
except when the war came on and he did his part. Then you get to the second half, and you've still got that sort of you actually go, if the first half is the particular judgment,
then you can move to the general.
The second half is actually the general judgment. Because now, we were looking at George Bailey, the man, his actions, and their immediate consequences. But now we are actually looking at the downstream consequences of all of his actions. By having removed those actions out, here's where this town ends up.
Mm-hmm. The complex tapestry of the fact that we are all connected and what we do affects each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of what will be judged on is that. How did your actions affect other people?
In fact, in many cases, it's not so much about, the microcosm.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually far more when you look at the cost of sin.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost always far more about the macrocosm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I hurt myself and my relationship with the Lord by doing this thing. But
the Lord can forgive that.
The Lord can forgive that. And with the Lord, I can heal from the damage that I've done to myself. Mm-hmm. But what about the damage that was done outside of me?
Mm-hmm. What am I doing to make reparation for my sins?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there's such a temptation in our society to think of ourselves the way George Bailey does. To think that the world would be better off without us.
I'm insignificant.
To only focus on the bad and not see any of the positive impact we have. Again, I'm not, Lord knows, I'm the last person to argue for, no, we're all fine just the way we are. But it is a sin to give in to despair and to think yourself completely and totally depraved. We're made good by God. We mar that through our sin, but we're still made good and capable of doing good.
Mm-hmm.
And George loses sight of that, and he needs to be shown how bad things get without him before he begins to appreciate
all the good that he did.
The fact that because he is made good, it is a wonderful life.
Can I still judge Clarence for
Absolutely.
spending that amount of time and not getting his wings?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Totally. Absolutely.
I mean...
Clarence was the guy who fails his driver's test like 12 times.
He is...
And is still,
Although, I mean...
it's not all that guaranteed he's going to pass the 13th time.
Aren't they promoting the idea that humans become angels?
They are. It's a terrible notion.
And that's not true.
It's categorically untrue.
I have to wonder if Clarence, what was the idea behind the Simpsons gill? Because he seems totally that.
I heard
Clarence, he's going to get his wings next time.
I heard a fantastic. I had a fantastic analogy, right? That I feel really relates very well to the whole notion that people become angels,
which they don't.
Because angels are a completely different kind of being. It's very much like when a puppy grows up into a dog, it is actually becoming more dog-like, which is a completely natural progression. However, if a puppy grew up and became a cat, that would be completely unnatural. It's very much the same sort of thing. For a person to become an angel would be an unnatural transition.
Yep. Whereas when we die and we go through purgation and we become fully united with God, that is what we were always meant to be. That is when we are most human.
Yes.
All the humans you've ever met are partially inhuman because of their sin.
See, I think the problem is that we get the idea of a human being something that is a thinking being with a body. So imagining them without a body is pretty much how we imagine angels.
Yeah, well,
they're both floating up there. They're both wearing white robes because we're not going to imagine people naked.
But the difference is that those people will eventually be reunited with their bodies. And
I'm not saying
those
there's
angels
no problems with it.
But the angels never had a body to begin with.
I'm saying I can see how,
Yes. I'm just...
the childhood idea where you learn about angels and then great grandma died and they're like, well, this is what they're like now, and you put it together.
Oh, she became an angel. She became a spirit. Or
she's up. Well, the real.
She's a ghost. Is grandma haunting me?
Yes, she's a ghost. That comes from the German word for spirit. Yes, of course we believe in ghosts.
I think the real issue is
Geist.
I think the real issue is that they tell you that grandma is now up in heaven with God, but at the same time, up until this point, all that they've told you is that the only other persons that are in heaven with God are angels. Therefore, angels are persons in heaven with God. Mm-hmm. Your grandma is now a person in heaven with God. Therefore, grandma is an angel.
Which she's not.
Which she is not. People can't become angels any more than dogs can become cats.
So,
although our dog is very much trying. She likes boxes. She enjoys grooming herself.
Mm-hmm. She wants to be a cat. Well, I mean, cats do have it pretty sweet. They get to poop indoors. They have to go outside in the winter.
Unless it's really, really cold, she doesn't mind going outside.
Fair enough.
She minds that we try putting a coat on her because she doesn't have thick fur.
Yes. Yes.
She's amazingly good at removing coats.
Just like a small child.
Yes. Or a cat.
So, just as It's a Wonderful Life isn't really a Christmas movie, but people think that it is. The souls of the blessed are spirits in heaven, but they're not angels, even if you think they are.
Nonetheless, It's a Wonderful Life is a judgment movie.
It's very judgy. And we've judged it plenty.
And next time you are at a family member's house and you're watching it, or if you are one of those individuals who watches at your own house, remember, the first half is the particular judgment. The second half is the general judgment. And the very, very ending is clearly heaven.
Yeah, but we haven't got there yet.
We haven't gotten there yet, so...
I don't know, I'm just imagining watching it at a relative's house and being like, no, I was actually forbidden from watching that as a child.
Really?
Yeah.
He
Talk about that in the bonus.
George Bailey becomes fully himself.
Yeah.
And,
the glory of God is
and he's surrounded by all of his loved ones, and everything is just sort of perfect and right with the world.
Except for, of course, that Mr. Potter did not get his comeuppance.
Except for
Mr. Potter, who got paid twice.
Yes.
But that's appropriate because money is often a temptation that people can't handle. So you're saying that the end of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is also heaven. Because he's become fully himself. He's surrounded by his family.
I mean...
there are days in which kidnapping your boss is something you imagine being part of the beatific vision.
But charges aren't going to be pressed. It was the only way that all the employees could get the proper Christmas bonus. It was necessary for the spiritual good of Clark's boss.
Aside from the sewer gas explosion, yes.
That's how Santa flew. And then, what's-her-face got to see Santa. The one that got, hit by the donkey and whatnot.
Curly Sue or whatever her name was.
Of course, you guys aren't wearing the right shirts to be talking about that movie.
No.
Nope.
So, comment below with another great Christmas movie about judgment. Give this episode a like, subscribe to our channel, ring the church bell to be notified the next time we discuss that great Lenten discipline of the 4 last things through the medium of Christmas films.
And until next time, remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.